You write me, Booker at bookerlawfirm.com. Your question ends up on the show. Bring you to the court of my public opinion. We're not going to look at this as legal advice because I don't represent you and I may not have all of the facts that I need. However, I'm going to do the best job that I can with what I have. Without further ado, let's get it crack-a-lackin'. What's up? Court is now in session and class is now in session. It's your favorite attorney, Attorney Allie Booker, teaching you how to move. We already know what time it is, okay? Many of the times it's hard to get your hands on an attorney. Attorneys cost. You cannot find us at 10 o'clock at night or 3 o'clock in the morning. So I have to teach you how to move when we're not around so that you're able to salvage your case so that when you get to us, we can pick up where you left off and win it for you. Okay, without further ado, order in the court. They wrote me and they said, do I have a lawsuit? I walked into Lowe's and vinyl siding came crashing down, hit me on the side of my head, leaving a mark. It caused dizziness, a headache, and then I decided to come to the hospital to see if I have a concussion. I do have a concussion. What do I do? Ooh, good job, okay? You did the right thing. You went to the hospital, okay? A lot of the times, people have great personal injury cases, but they do not maintain their evidence and salvage their case. So that by the time they get to an attorney's office, we cannot file a petition because it isn't worth it. At the end of the day, a purpose of a personal injury case is to make money. For yourself first, because you were harmed, but also for the attorney's office, who is wasting their time and money on the case. If an attorney's office cannot make money off of a case, although you may have a claim, they're not going to file it for you. What good is a claim without a lawyer to file it? Okay? So what you always do anytime you are harmed, first thing you do is seek medical attention. You do not need an attorney to seek medical attention. Now, this person did not realize that they were probably hurt so much, and that does happen quite a bit. There are times when we don't believe that we're hurt, so we go on about our business, and we just live life. And then a couple days later, we're hurting. Headache, just like in this person's case, okay? I'm going to draw the person here. You think you're happy, okay? And then all of a sudden, you get a major headache. And that causes you to go to that hospital, okay? It's okay if you don't have an attorney at this point because you went to the hospital, okay? So you've locked in the fact that you've been hit in the head, there's a concussion, you've went to the hospital, and the hospital has had you see a doctor, and they have made records of the injury. These records of the injury are what the attorney needs in order to get paid. So always, number one, seek medical attention. It's better if you go from the scene in an ambulance. If you are harmed, okay? This is an ambulance. You should go to the hospital in an ambulance if you are harmed. And you want to go from the scene of the incident. So you tell Lowe's to call you an ambulance. If Lowe's doesn't want to call that ambulance, you call the ambulance and you get the ambulance to pick you up from Lowe's. Why? Because you are making a record. You are making a record and establishing that something happened to you at Lowe's. And that because of that, you had to be sent to the hospital. So that these records of injury that the doctors make for you are tied to getting you some money. The key is they have to be able to make sure that your injury is tied to that Lowe's and that incident. So it's always best if you go from the scene of an accident or an incident in an ambulance to the hospital. I've had cases where they try to sit up there and argue that my client is not hurt because she went home first. Which, don't you worry about it. A lawyer, they want their fees and their money. They don't get paid unless you do. So they will fight and overcome that argument. But it is always best if they don't even have to argue that because you went in an ambulance. So then there's no question about how bad you were hurt. Because if you were not hurt, you wouldn't have needed the ambulance and you could have driven yourself. Although I have had people with broken limbs drive themselves to the hospital and still recovered. But it is best to make your claim early on, cemented in with records. Lowe's, 9 times out of 10, are going to have to do what's called an incident report. They're going to have to write down that you fell, write down your verbiage, meaning your words, and say exactly what you claim happened. Okay? So that also is a record. Okay? When you are on that floor, you ask for a manager from the floor and don't get up. That way, that manager has to create a record. And that record is going to be that you were on the floor, called for help, they came over and they saw you on the floor. Then the ambulance was called. There's a record of the ambulance and what happened. The ambulance is going to come inside of Lowe's. Somebody called us to Lowe's because this person fell. Then they're going to take you to the hospital, and the hospital is going to create an additional record that says the person fell at Lowe's and they came in here by ambulance, and these were the injuries. And that is going to always get you paid. So no matter what, guys, whether you can get your hands on an attorney right away or not, always seek your medical attention and get your records in order so that we have what we need to fight with and get you your money. Next case, this person did a great job. Next case,